So help me read this detail.
Yes.
We've got the adjusted amount, and we've got what we adopted on the right side.
Correct.
That's confusing me.
Yeah.
So
Here we go right to left,
So-
and then we go left to right.
So we had adopted the 591, so is that a savings then, since it's not on the left side for the adjusted balance?
Yes.
Why is it a negative and not a positive?
Are you looking at 75?
I'm on page 6 of 7 on
Yes.
my screen, right, of the.
Yeah, I'm with
So
you.
I'm looking at, I wish they had, there's
Two-
no,
220, 7520, project
Yes.
costs. There's nothing in the adjusted line,
yes.
right? And then there was something, I'd have to find out exactly what that change was.
Yeah, so there's nothing on the adjusted side, which means
Right.
we're no
We
longer
wouldn't be spending
doing it,
anything.
which
Correct.
means why is that not a positive number, a positive 591? To me, it looks like it's a negative 591, but if we're not,
Because we're subtracting it from the expenditure budget.
okay.
We'd be subtracting, if we zero it
I
out.
switch budgets, I guess. Hold on.
Wait,
Wait a minute.
Hold on. I see what you're asking. I don't know if we switched the labels of the columns
We did not. This is how we've been doing it.
because we have a significant spend for Measure J, but why would it go to 0 on this project? What project did we anticipate that we're
So-
no longer doing?
This would be the second year of the thing. We haven't programmed anything for the second year of the road funding. You haven't had a CIP new set of projects. You had projects, all the street paving, as I gave you the example, was approved for 26. They're going to technically happen in 27, but they're happening with $26. You've been on a biannual road program for how long? Many years.
Yeah.
And so this is year 2 of that biennial program. This is one of the things that, this is a fix to something that was not fixed a year ago.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep asking the same question again.
Okay.
I don't know how to read this detail. I'm sorry. So
That's
I'm looking
okay.
now I'm looking at 202,
Yes.
has the same code of 7520 project cost, but it was 710,000. What are we looking at here?
So
Is that a different year?
no, 202 is a different, that's RMRA.
Thank you.
And so it's any of the road programs, many of the projects in the CIP that were pavement oriented or street light oriented are using a mixture of RMRA, Measure
Measure
J,
J.
right?
Okay.
So we can go back to the CIP and tease these out, which exactly these dollar amounts were, but I'm going to bet dollars to donuts that we back these out because it's the second year again of the road program in Clayton.
Okay, and so then as I'm looking down at these other codes that mention all of the ones you just mentioned, for example, it's Fund 303. And they have next to them transfer from Measure J, transfer from Huda gas tax, transfer from the grants, transfer from RMRA.
Right.
What are those numbers?
Those are all the so 303 is where all of our capital improvement projects live. That's the fund that they all live in.
So the funds from those other line items, 202 and 220, moved into 303?
Would have moved in 2026, yes. But there was because we collect the monies as revenues, then you move them in the second year when we're actually programming the projects.
Dennis, may I also ask you what the balance is in our SURF fund? We had about $700,000 at one point. Have we used some of that already for
We have.
vehicles?
Yeah. For vehicles, we still have earmarked 171 or 175 or something for the library refresh project that are
You meant a
programmed
SURF?
in there. Yes. So all
Okay.
that's in there. And the balance is 700-ish.
Oh, still?
Still, yeah.
Still 700-ish. And that's there almost for,
Yeah, you'll see in the attachment B I did for the projects that you asked us about last time, that we use SURF for some of those projects. In particular,
Attachment B.
yeah, which is, that's kind of how we saw it too.
Oh, I see. Hoot to surf, hoot
Yeah.
to measure J, got it.
So, and those are actually on the top of it. It's a good way to talk about Councilmember Tillman's questions about where's the funding come from for some of the existing CIP projects. We listed some of those funding sources, Huda being another one of them. You actually, in that one, you see the 26 paving projects and restriping for Monterey Parkway. That has the most significant mixture of all those different funds for those particular projects. But let's see. Any other questions?
I have questions. Okay, so now you have me looking at this detail.
That's okay.
So I'm looking at page 48 of the agenda packet. This is the beginning of attachment A, which coincidentally is also labeled page 48. So that's odd.
There
Okay.
you go.
Towards the bottom two-thirds of the page, it says total adjusted revenue 7.008 and total budgeted revenue general fund 5901. You see what I'm seeing?
Yes.
Okay. So this makes me think about the prior discussion we just had about the $58,000 unfavorable on revenue. This represents a $1.1 million favorable on revenue. So how do I interpret that?
So I think part of what you're seeing there is the effect of, on the very top row on that page, the 32 line item 3201.
Yeah.
Part of what you're seeing is that transfer in for the 1.165 for $1 million for the projects from the reserves.
Oh, so we're reflecting that as revenue.
Correct.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. So that's weird, but I see the math, but it's weird. And then whenever we have a schedule like this, can we foot all the columns?
Sure.
Because like half the columns aren't footed, and it throws off my sense of order.
Okay. So we'll fix that for your sense of order. It'll help us too.
All right. It means have a total subtotal at the bottom. Let me foot it. Okay, I think that's my question here.
Okay. Anything else? I'll go back to the slide deck.
Back to the presentation.
So just to put I think we covered all this. If you want to go back, we can. Now I wanted to move on to discussions of the reserve funding for some of the projects you identified at the last meeting. This slide represents kind of the conglomeration of all of those amounts and the source of the funds for each of them. So you'll notice that some of the firearms, tactical gear, and the computer that gets installed in the one police vehicle, we took that from SURF. The contract for the cameras and whatnot for the Grove and for Community Park, we took from SURF. The emergency operation plans, we found some money there from SLESIF, the grant funding, for law enforcement programming. We found the right amount unused in SLESIF at this point. And then almost everything else we connected back to CIP just because there was capital projects, again, using the reserve for those funds. and then also the permit tracking software, as well as the body-worn cameras and the service contract that goes with that, we're identifying as general fund expenses, because that's going to be an ongoing cost for the contract there, and then the fund balance from general fund for those out years. And I will say this, I mean, technically, we don't have to transfer the amount for the 28 deficit because we're not facing that. So we've listed it there more for reference. So we won't, this doesn't include moving that amount of money over to cover that.
When we talked last meeting, we talked about certain CIP items as well. I think, I'm trying to remember what section of the discussion they were in, like the sidewalk components. Where do those end up here?
So at the last meeting, we did not receive clear direction to proceed on that sidewalk project that was listed on the options.
No, we did. I'm talking about the Four Oaks Lane sidewalk that you were getting a estimate for.
We have that funded separately.
That's already funded.
In the CIP.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was just asking, like, where,
Yeah.
I want to make sure, I don't
It's
want it to fall
not, it's not
off.
new on the list, it's existing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of adds to the CIP. It doesn't take anything out. So
Okay.
maybe it
I
does.
didn't want it to get lost.
No, it's it's there, and we've got actually design estimates and whatnot already on that. So
It's going to start tomorrow.
we could maybe start the bid next week. So these are what we built into the contract, built into the 27 budget based on your direction from last time. And then just to kind of wrap up, you know, I do say there is a soundness to the budget and some stability based on the reserve funds, but we all know that those are one time, and using them now for ongoing expenses is not a best. I won't say it, is not a good choice on the city's part for the most part. You could do it for emergencies. You could do it on a limited time basis. I would say we're probably in kind of one of those circumstances, but we need to be cautious of that. When we did the recommended adjusted budget, we had already, in the operations and maintenance side of the budget, we had already reduced the deficit by a number of other changes in half from what had been adopted last year. So we started with that, reducing those expenditures, reducing that so it netted out to a half of the deficit, about $345,000 in deficit spending, if you will. But then we added the projects at your direction at the last one, and that's why we are where we are.
Can I, for context, so if we go to the summary FY27 suggested revisions, I think it's like 8 slides up or something. No, 4. The one that showed the negative 1.11, this one.
Yes.
1165.
Is that number inclusive of the one-time spending that was reflected in the other slide?
Yes, sir.
So, like, this is the part that could be misleading, to me at least. I don't know to anyone else, but like, I would like to see the regular deficit projected 27, and then adding a column that says one-time spend and then total, so that you will still see the same 1165, but that will break out that one-time spend. That's what we were talking about, or that's what I was poorly describing last week or last meeting, so that it's very clear that of this deficit, this component is one-time in nature. That's what I would. That to me is a more helpful presentation.
Okay.
And the only other question I had is when we go back to the list, can you go back to the list of the reserve project? Oh, Dennis is, sorry, Skylar.
These here?
Yeah. So we removed the library exterior painting, the 100,000 or so, but we don't have any of the library refresh phase 2 or 3 in here, right?
So I show that on attachment B at the very bottom.
Okay.
The dollar amounts for both of those, they are not budgeted in. But I brought them forward because there wasn't, I don't think, a clear consensus to add them.
Is that the budget schedule?
Budget attachment B, yes.
Okay.
So at the very bottom of the page, you'll notice I headed that currently unbudgeted, and it
Got it.
gives the 2 phases and the total.
So tonight you need what from us exactly?
What I would appreciate, if you're ready to, would be to approve the budget revisions, including the augmentations that you asked for on April 7th, as you may choose to further amend them tonight. Or direction to go back and do something different.
Okay, so let me just, I got to go back to this, to the question. So that 1165, you said it was inclusive of these items, but these items on that list represent something like 2.5 million? I'm just doing the math in my head real quick, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's about 2.5 if you foot it, because every time there's a column of numbers, there should be a total at the bottom so that you can see. Every time. I think it's 2.5. So if the deficit is projected at 1.165 and this is inclusive of 2.5, I don't think it's inclusive of 2.5 is what I'm saying.
It is not inclusive of 2.5.
It can't be.
Yeah,
So what
it
is
is
it
not.
actually including?
So what's included in there are the total price of all of those pieces. So this is really about reconciling just the CIP pieces. This list also includes, let me go back.
Can you refer to which list you're looking at? I've got several tabs open.
Yeah.
Attachment
Would
B
be, thank you.
Yeah.
is one list, and then the other one is this
Got it.
slide.
So this is like 2.5, right? Give or take?
With the deficits.
So does it include all of you? Because my question earlier was, does it include these things? And you said yes, but I'm guessing no. The answer is actually no. It may include, maybe it includes everything but the bottom 3 lines?
It does not include the library refresh.
Well, that's not listed here.
Yeah, that's not listed.
So I guess what I would say is I don't feel comfortable saying yes at this point. I would like to see it presented in a more cohesive way that shows exactly what we're adding. You know what I mean?
Okay.
With that layout, with the columnar layout, so we can.
Attachment B,
Is it B?
this one.
Oh, CIP. That's just CIP, right?
We haven't even really gone through that
Oh.
yet, but
Okay.
right.
Because I guess the way I would say it is, you're making the request of an adjustment for 27.
Yes.
So we should say like, this is the change that I want to make, and have at least a rough detail, not a granular detail, of what it represents and what the change is, and then break it out into those one-time things that we asked for in the prior meeting, and then whatever is operational, so that we say like, this is what our new projection is for the operational components. Like, I think that would be very clear, so then we all know what we're being asked to approve. That's just my take. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on that.
Well, I was just wondering, could we bring up attachment B and go through that a little bit?
Where's that?
That is in the packet.
I'm in the, it's not on the deck?
It's not in the deck,
Oh,
right?
wait, is it this?
Yeah, I can, sure.
Oh, I see, okay. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about this one, okay.
We didn't. And I think we should just kind of go through it, right, before we finish up here. Everybody's up to it. Freezing.
The AC is working.
The AC is definitely overworking. It's in the packet. Do you see
Yeah,
it
in the
there?
agenda
Yeah,
packet,
yeah, that's gonna be
page
easier.
page 55 of the packet.
Say 55?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, that's so small.
I was going to say, do you want to walk us through it, or I
Or for
Do
level
have-
setting,
yeah.
what's included and what's not included? Is it all included already?
So what we included, anything in here that was connected back to the CIP expenses from your list.
But it's
So
weird
if
because
it was in the,
yeah.
so then we, below that, put in the deficit amounts. So the delta, I think we're looking at are the other things from the list in the slide deck that were listed as SURF or general fund. What I was trying to represent with this schedule was how we moved at the request of the council, what we moved into basically creating CIP type funding projects that would be reflected, even though they're not part of the official CIP,
okay.
as a way to track the expenses for each of those.
So are these net new all?
No, the top $3 million is continuing.
But the
Oh, that's
but
what
the-
that meant.
But the sidewalk's not there.
It wasn't inclusive of everything that's in the CIP.
That's what was, I was like, where's the rest
Yeah.
of the, when it said continuing, I thought there was a page
Yeah.
missing.
No,
Okay.
so correct. No, these were the things that I can't remember what we put up there, but they're continuing projects because they're basically underway.
Okay, and then the 2027, the next section, are some of the things we talked about at the last meeting that we said, yes, we want to move forward with, and those are coming out of general fund reserves.
Correct.
And then how are those, and that's 2020, well,
They would be for 27.
27, so the next reserve usage is to cover deficit,
in different years.
26, 27, 28.
So right. And all we would be doing for 26, we're going to technically need to use at the end of the year, right? That one. 27 will be for the budget year, so we would use that in June of 2027. If we have whatever the deficit is at that point, that would be earmarked for that. And then the same with 28. In June of 28, we're putting aside $476,000, but we wouldn't need to touch that until June 30th of 28.
So just two questions. If we agree to this entire list, which I don't know if we're going to do that tonight, none of it is affecting our reserve policy at 40%?
If you recall,
Right.
I had a slide, it's in the presentation, where I do the calculation on what the reserve policy is and what the estimated reserve balance would be at that point.
Yes. Let me just go back to the presentation.
Right.
And then library refresh, being we haven't started phase one, which will be starting this fall, we can always talk about phase 2 and 3 at a later date, right? Unless we want to make a decision tonight.
If I may, on the library refresh, after my meeting today,
There were a couple of requests to add some electrical in the teen study session and a floor outlet in a general area. And for those two, we're probably looking at about $20,000 max to do that. We haven't explored it. We don't know what's under the ground, kind of a placeholder. That's the only thing I would offer up as an additional for this evening, and I just found that out today. The other items, we can hold off till a later date and decide what we want to do.
Okay. And Dennis, I see your summary page where you say for 2026, yeah. But I mean, so my question was just the 40%, like we're not, Yeah.
We're not close yet. We're not close yet.
okay,
We're getting, I mean, it's closer. Yeah.
closer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got to ask about this. So the top of this one is stuff that's continuing. The 27 new are stuff we're considering adding. Where does the sidewalk fall in?
It's already funded in the existing CIP. We don't have to do anything else with it.
But isn't that the same as the stuff in the top?
Not all of it. I mean, and
How do we delineate in the items that are included in the top
I
section?
think what I need to do is bring back the entire CIP. That way you'll see that all those are in there still, and that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, because just being really clear on what are we being asked to add versus what's already there
Right.
would be really helpful.
Okay.
Because I think the new section is not even all of the new; it's just some of the new CIP, right?
It's the ones that we made projects within the CIP section in the fund because they're CapEx projects.
Okay.
I want to separate it. I kind of want to separate those out because what I heard last time was a desire to kind of track those separately to make sure that they're kind of contained rather than just putting them into a line item budget for service and supplies, for example.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. But I would have completeness so that we see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe if I had another section here in between the CIP projects and the reserve usage for those other things that are funded from SURF or SLESIF and whatnot that are on the other slide deck chart.
I would just focus on the ask, right? The ask is, hey, can we spend more on these items?
Okay.
Can we change the budget? And so it's really, that's the driver. You want to change it from X to Y.
Okay.
So do the walk,
Okay.
and then you could see if we had X, here's Y, here's all the differences when you get from here to there. You could even do like a waterfall or whatever, but
Okay. Yep.
and then it becomes very clear because here we're like juggling between 4 different schedules that have different intents, like one's CIP, one's not. I mean, it would just be helpful to just have a walk.
Okay. Can do that.
All right. So I'd like to see that before we take action, because I think it makes it more clear what we're taking action on. But that's my take. I don't know if you guys feel
I agree.
comfortable with that.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I was ready to move on tonight. But you want to wait? I understand it, and I don't know that I need to see the same thing again.
I don't understand it. I need to see it again, please. Thank you.
Okay. So, did you have feedback that you would like to offer? Okay. So I think that's.
I'll defer to your judgment.
Okay. Thank you. I think you have what you need at this point. Then.
I do. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, public comment. I think we need to take public comment. I did not forget. No. So this is item 8D. Do we have any comment on item 8D? Seeing none, I will close public comment on 8D. We will move on to 8E. Now, we will begin our workshop in a moment as we take we'll take a 2-minute recess.
I thought this was a workshop.
I don't have to, but just to be fair, I'll give us time to adjust and shift gears. And we're still going back to the GAD. After. Not now, after. Okay, so we are back, I think. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we are back. So this is we are moving on to item 8E, Echo. This is a workshop on transaction and use tax and landscape maintenance district renewal. And in the interest of time, talk very quickly.
You got it. Happy to do so. So as we've been discussing for a while now, 1% transaction use tax and also the LMD renewal happening simultaneously. So the workshop outline that we have here, revisit a little of the history, options that we have for the 1% and council direction, some ballot language options. We are not trying to lock those down tonight. This is a starting point. I just want to make that clear that this is kind of to wordsmith and build and change for both of them, and talk about any changes in the LMD ordinance, if there are any that this council desires to make. So as we've discussed for the last 2 hours, revenues are growing slower than expenses. And we're burning through some money. And so with a 1% sales tax measure, that equates to a little bit over $1 million is the estimate we've received from HDL. Extending the LMD, what we talked about last winter with council with the LMD is an increase in the assessment by 10%. So that is something still out there to decide. So transaction use tax ordinance options, some of the things that the council has the opportunity to discuss and decide upon are the length of the extension. What we talked about in the past is in perpetuity. I have mentioned at other meetings that there are cities that have put forth a tax measure for a period of 7 years, 10 years, because Amazon's coming, Target's coming, they're going to bring in this massive revenue influx. We won't need the tax measure any longer. We are not that city. I know. I'll call Amazon tomorrow. But so without the new money coming on the horizon, we recommend that moving forward, this would be in perpetuity, because there is no savior coming in terms of development or, retail outlets, point of sale from a distro center, any of those things. With this, much like the TLC, is there appetite for an oversight body? Currently, this is a general fund tax. The money goes directly to the general fund. You would automatically be the oversight committee, but is there interest to have a separate body as an oversight? It could be a newly formed body. It could be an amended FSC group. It could be a variety of different things, or it can be the council. That's part of the discussion. And part two of that was, who is the body? If you're going to create a body, how many members are you going to look at putting on there? And what are their roles, responsibilities? How often are they meeting? Are they just looking at mid-year and the closeout on the new budget? What does that look like? So it's a full development of the oversight. I will stop there and turn it over to you for discussion on those few items that I just went over.
Thoughts, questions?
I do have one. On the transaction tax language, is that set in stone, or can words be changed?
Nope, this is just a jumping off point.
Okay.
We're going to workshop the hell out of that.
What's that?
We'll
it's
workshop
pretty,
it quite a
it's
bit.
pretty good, but I'd like to see some different words when we're ready to do that.
Okay.
Hopefully you use AI to generate this.
So do you want us to answer the things on this slide now?
Let's
Yes.
give feedback.
Yeah, provide
Okay.
feedback.
Anyone have any questions of staff before we talk about feedback?
Well, the one question I do have is the oversight body Can you describe the roles of what that oversight body would do? And I didn't realize it could be the council. I thought it might be community members that came together. So what does that mean, oversight body?
It could be. It's somebody who's going to review that the money's being spent where we say it's going to be spent. What's unique?
After.
What's unique about this is it's general fund money.
Yeah, we-
So
Okay. Yeah.
it's not, so I'll use the LMD as an example, the TLC, that money has to be spent on specific things. You can't pay police officers with it, right? So part of the TLC mission is to review the expenditures, make sure that the money was spent inside the district for district purposes. This is a little unique because it's general fund money, so there's really no
Right.
strings attached to it.
But this isn't the community body that you said could form if they wanted
No,
to?
no.
And okay.
No.
Yeah, that's what I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So-
This is after.
So if
Correct.
it's after the election, why couldn't we use the finance committee? Those are citizens.
I think it's at the discretion of the council
Yeah,
in
because
how we
they're
propose the
already
language.
there.
Correct.
But I would say having an oversight body of general fund money is silly.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We shouldn't have any,
Put
we
it with
should
the
not have
finance.
an oversight body.
Okay.
Because it's general fund. There is no, the only rule is that it's for legal purposes. So,
Right, and why involve
what are
more
they gonna-
people into
what are they gonna
the
do?
task of oversight?
Right.
yeah, and I don't think, like,
People feel comfortable when there's an oversight, they're looking at it. I
It
see
would-
it everywhere, school districts.
yeah, but those are specific purpose.
Uses.
This is general fund. So if you look at other jurisdictions who impose a general fund sales tax, it's not a thing.
Okay.
It could be. We could do it and just have
Some
someone do
cities do
bureaucracy.
it. I don't, I wouldn't even guess on a percentage of what cities do and don't.
Exactly.
But-
So I don't, that would be my take. You guys can offer, but for a general fund that has no limit, there is no restriction other than for legal purposes. The oversight body has no activities.
No, you're fine. I would agree. And the other thing that I would ask us to consider is every time that there's another committee, that staff time, so how much administrative funding is coming from that to have to oversee us spending what we're already doing. That's the other component. So I'm a no for an oversight committee for that purpose.
But could we change our mind a year from now and say, you know what, maybe we should, or no? We can't.
Once it's on the ballot,
Okay, so
you have to
it's-
reballot it.
You got to
Okay.
bake it in the ordinance.
Okay.
So that answers the who is the body question for me. Except it's the length of the thing. Do we want a limited term or one in perpetuity? I think our city manager just recommended in perpetuity, but it's really discretionary. So
The 1% tax.
yes, some places do. I've seen that as a
Yeah, but we
time
don't,
box.
we're not getting an Amazon here, that we're gonna need that.
Yeah,
We're gonna
In
need that money. It's already showing we're gonna need
I
it.
agree.
In perpetuity.
Yep.
I agree.
Question, what body were you referring to as the oversight body?
The finance committee, which we already have.
These are
The finance
finance?
No,
committee?
the Financial Sustainability Committee.
Just to look
Oh,
at,
you're, finance sustainability,
That's
there's a different, that's a different body.
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
and
to
all
look
you
at-
have to do, it would seem to me, is change the scope of its authority, you know?
But they would have no activity related to this because there's no limit to the use of funds.
We just look over and see what we spent.
But we
They could
do
just
that.
come to a meeting.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
They can come and speak at the podium and give their input during a
It is,
meeting.
it is bureaucracy,
Okay,
so.
there you go. I'll go with you. I'll go with that.
All right.
And my only comment about this, and I want to get this on the record, 1% equals $1 million is optimistic. In times of economic turndown, people are not going to be spending and buying things that incur a tax.
Agree.
So my uneducated guess is it's going to be somewhere between 400,000 to maybe 750 at the maximum. That's my view. You guys are more smart than I am.
We should bet the line.
Pardon me?
We should bet the line and see where the over-under is. Sorry.
Well, I asked you a question last time, and you couldn't give me an answer.
No,
Well-
I think the only data points that we have are our current sales tax base and rough estimate provided by, who do we use for?
HDL.
HDL.
There are certified smart people.
And we've asked them several times.
They are certified.
HDL are
yeah.
certified smart people.
HDL. We've
Yeah.
asked them several times, and they keep coming back with the same number, right, $1 million.
Yeah, so I don't know I mean, we obviously haven't engaged them to provide consulting services for a specific estimate, but I think their general consensus was in that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
It may be less. Yeah. It may be more. And and that'll be the case for any sales tax. It is variable, so
It's going to fluctuate.
yeah, a lot of spend that incurs sales tax is discretionary. So I think
So.
you good?
I am
Yes.
good.
All right, cool.
In their packet, sample ballot language, because you've stated in perpetuity, that will have to be included into the ballot language because you have to state the term of the measure.
I was just wondering why there was a question mark at the end. Are we asking people?
You are asking a question.
You're
That's the
asking.
ballot language.
the ballot is a question.
It's like
It's a
Jeopardy
question.
style. You have to pose a
Jeopardy
question.
style. Who is?
No, it's got to have perpetuity in it because it'll either say a term of 7 years, 10 years, whatever the term is. Yeah,
We'll let the lawyers tell us what's required.
absolutely. Do you want me to read this to you, or how would you like to proceed with perceived ballot language? You can set up, you can ask us to bring something back, add something if you would like to create a short-term ad hoc to wordsmith the hell out of this. We can do that as well. I turn it to you to how you would like to proceed with the language.
The language, I would recommend we give you general guidance on the components, and staff utilize their expertise to come up with language, and then we bless it. Like us forming a committee, we'll do the exact same thing and take more time.
Agreed.
And what's the maximum amount of words?
70.
It is
75?
70. So we're at
75.
69. 75.
Oh, it's 75? Oh, just
We got room.
Can you write it forever and ever?
Please provide.
I know that song.
Okay, so which one? Oh, this one. You are. Oh, yeah. Okay.
It covers everything, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
I trust.
We're moving on to LMD, and you want the same feedback?
Yes. So this is the language. Did you change anything? I can't remember.
No, this
This is from 2017.
Ignore that one. I don't
the
need
next
that.
one.
We're just talking about the current. We're not living in the past.
Go ahead. You did this one, so I'm gonna let you drive.
Okay, so on this one, again, we have up to 75 words, so we've got a few more to do. But this would add in the residential parcel amount and then the per acre, which is our current practice for larger holdings, would be that they charge per acre for non-residential properties. And so this would include that language in the ballot measure itself. I put in the current rate now, but one of the parts would be to add the 10%. That language is not baked into here yet, to add that new base setting, additional 10% one time that was discussed by the council previously.
So a couple things on this one. We have a riser on the LMD
I was
every
just
year.
gonna say that,
And this
yeah.
doesn't include that.
You know, it does not. It's in the ordinance, but it's not in the. It was not in the previous ballot language, and it's in. So I didn't include it this time.
So we're going to let the lawyers decide if it's required to put a riser in the ballot language.
Because they didn't do it in 2017, they didn't do it in 2007.
Well, let's not talk about that.
Okay.
But let's go on a go-forward basis. If a riser is required, I think that's a question.
Oh, mention of CPI or whatever.
Yeah.
And is it a CPI?
That's what we have it
That's what
now.
we use now.
So it's CPI or 3%, the lower of, right?
Does this one also have a 75-word limit, or is it 70? 75, okay.
Yeah. So that's one.
And-
Where is it? The
The acre versus the parcel?
I would rather it say per parcel only. It says per residential parcel or per acre for non-residential parcel or portion thereof. You could limit a lot of words and just say per parcel.
So what that would do, if we take out the acre thing, it would change it for commercial, non-residential properties.
Yeah.
And so that would change the dollar amounts collected.
Agreed.
How much money does that
Tremendously.
risk us losing per year by doing that?
I think probably overall in the city, 75,000.
And then we do the 10%.
And so we do the 10%, we're going to gain 140,000. So half of it we would be,
So we're resetting the base to get the amount that we need, having the riser, and then having an equal distribution versus overweighting large parcels.
okay? I mean, that's
I mean,
just,
Why
that'd be
is
my
it,
feedback.
what do you mean overweighting? They're paying the same amount.
No.
If they have
No, they're not.
No. If they have more acres, clearly you're going to pay more, but why would they not?
So that means that if you own a large parcel, you are paying a greater proportion of the maintenance for not your parcel.
Yeah, it's per acre.
Well, yes, that's what the calculation is.
Yeah.
But, so like, if you, theoretically, the assessment should be connected to your ability to use the services that the district is providing. So if you own a large parcel, you're going to pay more than the person next to you that's in a residential parcel.
That's how it's been.
That is how it's been.
So we're
So
going to lose money if we
Your
change
mic
it.
is not on.
it will shift the balance of payment for sure,
Yes.
which is why we're revisiting it and to see, is the current balance fair? Is that equitable? To have someone who has a large parcel pay more without an increase in their level of use?
Well, when this was written in 2007,
Yeah.
I'm sure the council at that time considered that.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they did. Not saying they didn't.
And they wanted to do that because they
Well-
needed that money to run that district.
Well, that's why we're
Granted, but
reconsidering it. Yeah.
it's our prerogative to revisit, right?
Well, we
So-
can revisit it,
Yeah,
yes.
so that's what I'm talking about. And there are, to me, it's like, it should be a function of the usage of the services in the district. That's why, like, if you're a family of four in a unit versus a family of four in a different unit, you don't pay more because your house is bigger. You all have access to the trails and you enjoy the benefit that the assessment district provides in terms of landscaping and maintenance of the medians and whatnot. Someone with the larger parcels is very similar. They don't use more by virtue of they have a bigger property. Now, that being said, we tax them more because we can, but I don't necessarily think if they have money, then we tax them is a good way to do assessments. So that's why I think that results in an inequitable result. That's my take on it.
And so and I agree with you, but my question is, the 303.72 is what we're paying now. What would be actually going on the ballot?
so I want to come back and make sure we want to do the 10% riser.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last time.
Right, and so we
Correct.
would do that. The other thing is, I need to figure out when the next CPI hits.
Okay.
It's
And
usually
then
in
put
March.
so if it's in March, then it's, so it doesn't show up on their bill until December, for the December tranche, right, payment deadline. So they're actually, like the auditor controller would be calculating now what that new number would be.
Right.
Yeah, they
That's
get the
what I was
number,
at.
when do we
That's
get our
it.
property tax bill, like August?
I think you usually get like September, October.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then it's due.
but the calculations are usually done in July and August at the county.
Okay, so that's why I was asking, would we use the 303.72? Or,
I think it's the CPI. I would like to try to figure out what the CPI amount is for this year that gets added to that,
got it.
and then add the 10% riser on top of that. If that's, the council agrees to that. That was a point of direction from you. I think that's fair rather than missing a year of CPI.
Yeah.
And then-
BLS
do
is
that.
scheduled to release CPI May 12th.
Can we go back for a second on the parcels?
Yeah.
So did you say we would lose $75,000?
77, yeah, that's a reasonable estimate.
So we would have to reduce what work we do there. And
There would be $75,000 less available to do work.
Not with, no.
No, because we're adding the 10%.
You're adding 10%.
Right, but if you add the 10%, I mean, that still if you added the 10% to everybody, then you're still missing out on 75,000.
Sure, but the
Okay.
net is not 75, negative. The net of this, all the activity, if we do it as described, would be, what if you said 140 before?
140 would be
It would be
with the 10%.
favorable,
So
50.
you'd lose, yeah, there'd be half.
No, because the baseline is now to then, so it's a favorable 50. The two components are favorable 140, unfavorable 75. You net them, and the net impact of what that would be
50.
would be 50.
Is it more
favorable.
than 50?
Or I'm just using the numbers that you,
About 70.
so it's a
About
net.
70.
Yes.
Right.
But I think of all of the weed abatement that isn't getting done throughout the year, that people complain about all the time, that could be getting done with that additional funding. We already know that that's not getting done, and it hasn't been because one, it was locked in for 10 years. Two, it never was, except for the CPI, it was never increased. So we're talking 1997 prices plus the CPI.
No,
This is
it goes up every year.
I understand that. I said plus the CPI. So by increasing it to 10%, which I agree with, why would we not try to add more to it? And I'm not saying charge somebody more because they've got, like, punish them. Pay per your acre.
But it's not
If you're-
maintaining their acre.
I understand that. We all maintain our own property. This is the trails and all of the landscaping in the city. We already know that has not been, especially the trails, has not been addressed. And the weeds, we can address a lot more, especially given our conditions with our insurance, et cetera. I'm talking about all the homeowners in the new fire maps. Why wouldn't we try to get ahead of that in the next 10 years when we know it's not going to get any better? I think that we should have that extra money coming in. Why would we leave money on the table, I guess is the best way to say it.
But it's not that we're underfunded.
I didn't say
right?
we were underfunded. I'm
I mean,
saying
we're
there's
not-
work we can't do. We're working within our means. We would have more means by doing this.
But would we we need to use the money that we have now, right? Including money that we've left on the table the last couple of years. And maybe that means hiring other contractors. Maybe that means,
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a fair, it's not necessarily, should we do more question. Like, we could always do more. The question is, how do we fund it? And how do we fund it in a way that's fair? So if we want more money, or if we need more money to do more work, then we all share in that burden. The way that it works out now is we don't share equally in the burden. So if we ultimately decide we should have X amount of funding, that's fine. We set X amount, or we have X plus Y, whatever it happens to be, we can establish what that target funding level is. The target is independent of the methodology that which we acquire it. So if we say it should be X, we could just say, well, I'm going to take it off on Dennis. That would be unfair, and Dennis should not bear the burden of the entire cost. We should all do it equally.
But when you say right now we're all not sharing in the same cost, we do currently.
No.
How do we not?
So if you own a large parcel You're one person.
Are you talking about the new verbiage? Because currently, right now, it's,
No, in the current verbiage, if you own one, like, if you own a residential parcel, you pay a flat rate, 303, whatever. Let's say, okay. If you own a commercial parcel, you're still one person, and it's larger, you calculate by acre.
no.
And it's
I
variable
thought,
rate.
so you guys are going to have to explain to me then, because I'm looking at page 75 or 6 in this presentation. It reads presently, well, this is how it was in 2017, I guess. Yeah, 2017. $234.84 per year per residential and non-residential parcel or fraction thereof. How is that not everybody's paying the same price per parcel?
This is the language that was on the ballot,
Yeah.
and
This is not the way that it's
but
assessed.
it's not the way it's assessed. So
who's assessing it?
so there's a so who's assessing it is frankly the auditor controller, because they're the ones doing.
Mr. Kramer.
But they're following the ordinance, and it's in the ordinance that lays out for non-commercial, it's by acre.
Okay. So the ordinance
this
has
language,
page
I guess
7's
yeah.
language. That's why I was like, what do you mean?
Sorry, I did not provide the appropriate context. If it were this language here, X dollar per residential and non-residential parcel, that's okay, because that's the intent, or that is the result. But in the way that the current ordinance is, it creates that discrepancy. And the ordinance is what the auditor controller uses, not the auditor controller, sorry.
It is the auditor controller that actually puts the amount on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but the county, is it the assessor?
They assess the property value. The auditor controller puts all the fees on. So, that's,
So back in
Good.
1997, sorry, really
Yeah,
quick,
go
just so I
ahead.
can.
Yeah.
Back in 1997, when this was originally put in, our ordinance stated what's on page 7? The per acre for non-residential?
not page 7.
It's 76. It's 7, it's, yeah.
No, that's the proposal.
I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, so.
Your
No,
microphone's
you're
not
not.
on.
Help, I need you to,
Okay.
let's slow down.
Okay.
What is on page 75? So the page before this one, it's page 6 in the presentation deck.
Yes.
Can you go up one slide so we
The
can
Measure
display it?
Age 2017 page?
Yes,
Okay.
This one.
yes.
There it is.
Okay. Sorry. This
So
would be way easier.
that was written in the ballot, and my question is, was that language ever in our ordinance? That's the first question. And if you don't know the answer to that, I guess the better way to ask it is the language that is on the following page, page 7, where it breaks out parcel versus acre, which I was just told was in our ordinance, when did that go in the ordinance?
Okay. So in the ordinance adopted in 2017,
17, thank you.
this is exactly the ballot language. This is what the voters saw on their ballot the day they voted. But in the voter guide was the ordinance. And the voter guide and the ordinance allowed for this different rate for commercial and residential property. And that's where it established, used the same dollar amount per parcel for residential and per acre for non-residential in the ordinance.
Who wrote the ordinance?
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
And why would it be different than Measure H? I mean, why would it be different than the measure? It doesn't make any sense, right?
I'm gonna always blame the lawyers.
I was in Santa Barbara.
But that is a city ordinance?
That is a
So
city
it was
ordinance.
passed by a city council,
Yes, sir.
and they had a reason to do it.
And was approved, technically was approved by the voters. Yeah, approved by the voters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
That's
going to go
why-
back to why would we change it then? If it was approved by the voters, why would we change it?
On slide 7 now, this is just something we mocked up for discussion today. And I thought this was a way to put before the voters clearer language about what the ordinance actually says in practice. And that's why I made this slight edit, and that's why I highlighted it as an edit that actually better describes what the practice is.
Because I think realistically, all the voters will read the ballot language